Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Friday and it's the 20th of December, and it will also be the last one this year because I will go on Christmas holiday and then we'll talk again in the new year. But we'll start with S&P 500 that actually closed just a tad lower than yesterday, right? More or less bang on the support at 5,864, and this the upper part of the gap area. RSI is negative sentiment, but let's see here next couple of days. Canada actually bounce a little bit here in the pre-market. We are down about 0.5%, but that is the after the index future slash US 500 CFD closed a little bit higher. So we are still above the support here, in this case at about 5,829. The Nasdaq 100 index closed about 0.5% lower, just below minor support here at 21,171. Could slide lower to around 20,900, maybe a little lower. But we are in a positive sentiment still. There's no divergence on the RSI, which is a little bit unusual, where we have the S&P 500 actually doing worse. But I think we will see it pushing higher towards year end. I think it will bounce back at least towards year end. But looking at the weekly chart, there actually very massive divergence here on the RSI, and we actually also have a bearish engulfing. And let's look at that in the new year, see what has to develop to. So it looks top and reversal pattern like on the weekly chart at least. So there's a little bit battle going on between those two time frames. Here we have the futures. It's actually taking lower, 0.8% roughly, and it is pushing lower. Could push lower here the next couple of days, possibly down to test the 55 moving average. The Dow Jones index closed basically unchanged, just above the 100 moving average. Let's just, where is my mouse? Let's just expand it a little bit and see, just above the 100 moving average and just above 24,221. So far it hasn't closed the gap area. We are still in negative sentiment though, so we could see a beam taking out. But let's see if it can crawl back above 43,000. Well, maybe then we can get a little bit of upside. Eurostoxx 50 closed lower, and it actually closed below the 38.2 retracement. It is still just above the cloud area, closed below the 55, but above the 100 moving average. So I think we could see it pushing a little bit lower to 48.50, and let's see what we are pre-market here. We are about 0.7% lower. You can see it's actually pushing lower now. That is actually below the cloud and pushing towards the 61.8 retracement of 48.19. The RSI could be key here. If it does close below 40, it could be, we could see further downside potential. If it does close, keep itself and bounces from 40, well then we could see a strong bounce above 4,900. The DAX index continued yesterday its sell-off, and actually is below this little gap area here towards the 38.2 retracement, 19,869. Could still dip lower to the 19,674 level, where we have some stronger support. And the pre-market is also pushing lower, so I think we'll see it down here around 19,670, possibly lower in this region here. So it's a very swift and violent correction. Euro dollar, well, had a volatile day yesterday, but didn't really get anywhere, and we are still in a bearish trend. There is a little bit divergence here on the RSI. We can remove this one, but you can see that the RSI here is lower than over here, but market price is lower there. But there's still potential down to 102 level, 102 and a quarter, around that level where we have some stronger support. Sterling dollar or cable, as I I have been saying, well, it currently this morning taking out the support here at 124.85. We are in a bearish trend and likely to see cable pushing lower towards this low here, just around 122.99, 123 really. And negative sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, likely seeing lower levels on sterling dollar. On euro sterling, well, that bounced off the 82.25 support and this falling trend line here, and I think we will see it spiking up to the other peak here, or the 55 moving average, and the upper falling trend line still in this falling wedge-like pattern here. And it really needs to break out for direction. I think it will break out to the upside eventually, but we are not there yet. The yen pairs and dollar yen, well, it pushed higher here in Thursday session. It actually touched the 157.70 resistance. A little bit of setbacks could be expected, but however, we are still in a positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, likely to push higher in the coming days and weeks, especially after taking out this. So where are we? Where's the potential to? Well, 160 is in the cards. We can also see here on the weekly, it's reached that as a 786 retracement projection again, and currently on the weekly chart we are above the 60 threshold. If it does close above, well, then there is potential high. If it's being rejected, and we only have Friday today to decide that, and if it close the week below 60 threshold, well, then we could see the dollar yen cross to recede and slide lower. The euro yen, and let's just zoom in on it so it's actually a little bit easier to see. Well, above the minor resistance and above 162.50, above the 55 moving average. That was not a strong support. It just means we were still in a bullish trend, but higher highs and higher lows. However, the 60 threshold has not been penetrated. It's not closing above. It really needs to do that for further upside potential to 165 and higher. The Aussie yen can't really make its mind up. I think we will see it slightly lower, and we are still below the cloud. We are below 100, and that is at best it's flat, and the 55 moving average coming down, pushing a lower. And I think we will see that eventually. Negative sentiment on the other side. There's no divergence, indicating likely lower levels on Aussie yen. Sterling yen spiked massively high. I don't know what caused this, but it spiked higher. Almost all up to 199.95, and this morning it opened way much lower, and it's trading a little bit lower. However, the RSI is still above the 60 threshold, well, dipping below, but it closed above 60 threshold, so we are in a bullish trend. We can also see it could continue if we can forget the 21 moving average around, and the 100, and the other ones are also rising. Then it looks to sterling yen that seems to be crawling higher going into a new year. Aussie dollar, well, it stopped its sell-off just above 61.85 support. It touched the 62 level just about. It dipped a little bit below. We are in negative trend, or bearish trend, negative sentiment. I think we'll see lower levels on Aussie yen, but it is a little bit stressed, as we can see here, very close to 61.70. We could see it dipping down to that level. The dollar Canada, well, took a little bit of breather yesterday after a massive move. There's still potential higher, supported by positive sentiment and no divergence on the RSI, so still potential up to 146 level. And sterling Canada, well, sterling Canada also took a massive breather, or the sellers got back in control, pushing it lower. There is a little bit of support here. Let's just draw a trend line. So here, hang on. There we go. So there will be a little bit of support in this region here around 179.35. This is the range I want to see it break out for direction. There is stronger support down here where we have the 55 moving average coming up. There is a slight divergence on the RSI, so it was an exhaustive move. I think we will see it moving quite a bit in this area here up to the peak. EURUSD, well, sliding lower, now below the 61.8 retracement and the minor support at 93.18. I think we will see it at 92.90, and if it dips though, then it could resume downtrend below 92.55. So it is in, I think we'll actually see it dipping to 92.90, and then we could see it bounce because the RSI actually did close above 60 threshold here. So maybe we should have another go at the cloud area at the 100 moving average and the falling trend line, but I think we will slightly lower, a little bit lower this morning. The dollar Swiss touched the 90 and a change resistance. We are in a bullish trend. There is a divergence, however. You can see that this low over here, this peak here is higher than this peak here. So we are likely to move higher. We can also see that all moving averages they are rising, so I think we'll see it pushing higher in the coming days and weeks. So after a little bit of a setback, probably here up until around Christmas. On the dollar index, well, the dollar index also pushed higher, testing the previous peak here, 108 and a change. On the weekly chart, we can see also better what's going on. Really, we are in a bullish trend. We are positive sentiment on the RSI. No divergence. There's really not any strong resistance until, well, all the way up to 111, 112 or something. We can try to estimate where we could move to next. 109 is in the cards at 138 projection, but we could see it pushing up to 110. Gold tried to crawl back and was at one point above the support here at 26.05, but we're still below. We're still 100 moving average. We're at the 55, dipping now. But the key support 25.45. That is in this area. If it takes out that, well, then we're looking at 24.70. But I think we'll try to bounce a little bit further here next few days. But it could dip to those levels as mentioned. The silver spot actually dipped below the support here at 29.18, and we are in more or less in a free fall. There's not much stopping. They don't have any support until around 27.68 or 28 level here, and I think we can see that in the coming weeks. Negative sentiment on the RSI. However, if it can get back above 30 again, well, then I think we could see it crawling higher towards 31.5. And the copper also quite heavy actually. Copper is testing the support here at 406.5, but we are negative sentiment on the RSI, indicate we could see low levels, so it could dip lower. Whether we'll get below 400 or not is at the moment a little bit debatable, but it is copper is definitely under pressure, and it will take a move up to above 433.5 to really reverse that picture. Crude oil still in this range here. I've been repeating myself for a very long time, but it's also been going on for about 2 months now, with just being caught in a tighter range, but still here around trading around 70. It really needs to break below 66, 72 for bearish trend. I think that we will see that, but again, it still has to be seen if it moves back above the cloud area here in 72, 82. Well, then we will see higher levels. Brent crude oil the same, 70s, but 70, and back above the cloud could indicating higher levels. The Dutch TTF gas bounced strongly, and we talked about it that it was destined to break back above the 38.2 and the 55 moving average. I think we will see a push towards the 45.35 resistance and the 61.8 retracement, and this gap area, whether it will close it or not, which means it needs to close above 45.35, sorry. So that if it closes above that, well, then there's potential higher. So maybe we'll see that. I think at least it will be challenged and to be closed. Henry Hub, US nat gas, well, also post higher, and I think it's prudent to look at what's going on in the weekly chart. You can see here it had a bit of correction. Now it's testing the 364 this morning, actually already above it. Let's see if it can close above it. Well, then there is potential much higher for US nat gas towards 5 and maybe even 6. And what we can say is that, well, if we take the distance from here to here and add it to the breakout price, well, then there's potential higher towards $5. On yields, well, once again, the US 10-year yield pushed higher towards and above 450 towards 460 and 464, which is the 138 projection of this correction. Here we can see what's going on. Really here on the weekly chart, we have broken finally above the upper falling trend line. It is falling channel-like pattern. We are above the cloud. We are in a positive sentiment on the RSI. We are above 450. Well, there is potential higher to around 473. This peak about over here in the coming weeks, maybe going into the new year. So really a bullish breakout there, really high yields. Also on the 2-year, we can see that. Let's zoom in a little bit. We can see what's going on. It's very close to take out the. Oops, sorry about that. That can happen when I'm a little bit not easy on the hand there. There we are. So 435. Above that, well, then there's potential up to 490, and I think with that to play out, we can see the 55 moving average coming up there, adding to the support, and we are above the 60 threshold, meaning we are in a positive sentiment, likely to move higher. On the EuroBund future, here we talked about yields. Now we're talking about the future. Still trading around the 100 moving average and the 50% at 133.90. We can still see it dipping down to the 61.8 retracement at 133.25. But it seems to be over if it can't close below 40 threshold here on the RSI. If it doesn't do that, then I think we'll see it bouncing higher, and I think we'll see it crawling a little bit higher here in the coming days. But still, there's risk down to that. Remember that. So that's really not easy to read at the moment. And the UK Gilts pushed lower and dipped below 92 this morning. I think we'll see it pushing lower towards 91. And 90 area. Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin to begin with. Well, we had this top and reversal pattern in place, sell-off and another sell-off. But here this morning we are bouncing a little bit, but there is a risk down to around 90,000 and change, 90,682, and the 55 moving average coming up. They're giving some support. So if we get down there, I think we will bounce and then possibly push higher. On the Ethereum really got hit hard. I'm not sure why, but it got hit hard and actually below the support at 4,446, just above the 55 moving average. So it is actually a little bit, quite a bit heavier Ethereum here. Could dip down to 3,268, maybe a little bit lower, but key strong support 3,000 and change. I don't think it will be taken out, but we have a bit of a double top in place here, and they could take it lower and then adjust. Let's just adjust it a bit and say, well, it could maybe move all the way down to the 3,125. I don't think we'll get all the way down here, but let's see. All right, that's all for today, and that's all for this year. Have a very lovely Christmas. I will only do updates between the Christmas and New Year if really some special market movement in the market or something like that. Otherwise, I'll speak to you again in the New Year. Happy New Year.